Donc si je vais sauter aujourd'hui, c'est pour prouver à tous les hommes qui n'ont pas choisi de filles ou de femmes pour ce défi, que les femmes aussi ont assez de courage pour sauter dans l'eau et ont assez de cran. Voilà. Bon, quand je parle de sauter dans l'eau, c'est pas un petit orteil, hein, mesdames, hein, c'est sauter entière dans l'eau comme des hommes. Voilà, j'en profite aussi pour faire passer un message. Si je saute aujourd'hui, c'est aussi pour lutter contre les inégalités hommes-femmes qui persistent dans notre société actuelle. Donc à mon tour, je dois choisir 3 personnes qui vont devoir sauter dans l'eau, sinon elles vont devoir me payer le restaurant. Donc forcément, ces 3 personnes seront des femmes, comme je suis là pour défendre les femmes. Donc ces 3 personnes seront Élise Bove, Elodie Darras et Julia Minet. Voilà, donc je n'ai qu'une chose à vous dire.
Not in my name.
What isn't in your name?
What isn't my name? This increasing move towards discrimination, racism, misogyny. You know, we're the other 98% whatever.
The 98% of what?
We're the other 98%.
Well, 53% of women voted for Donald Trump.
I know, it's very sad.
So 98% of who?
What the fuck? Beet juice in the house. This is your brains on drugs. Oh shit, son.
System which I'm also opposed to.
Well, Hillary won the popular vote, but the people who were voting for Hillary and for Trump both accepted that they were taking part in an electoral system. They wouldn't have complained about that system if Hillary won. So it doesn't really make a difference.
Someone else, my friend.
Pardon?
Go and interview someone else. Tired, cold.
That's a shame. Tired, cold. That's what we're up against today, I guess.
It's the fact that he said he can't stop, he just kisses them and he can't stop kissing them. That's what he said.
I mean, he didn't say that he would forcibly carry on kissing a woman. He just said, I couldn't stop, as in I really wanted to. So wanting to do something and putting it in practice are different.
But I can't remember the quote exactly by heart, but it sounded very, very, very assaulty.
It sounded assaulting.
The gender pay gap is one of the most persistent falsehoods of our time. In fact, when you control for the different choices that women make, the gap between what men are paid and what women are paid narrows to almost zero. Some men's rights advocates even suggest that men should be paid more because their lives are more difficult, more expensive, and more dangerous. Well, not mine, obviously. After all, perhaps men need the help. They're falling behind at school, university, and in the workplace. Women in their 30s get paid more for the same work than men in both the UK and the US. And men are finding it more difficult to even apply for jobs in the first place, especially in science. Men pay more at every stage of a relationship, from that first date right the way through to divorce. And the jobs they work are more tedious, menial, dangerous, and dirty. Plus, men pay more for education and even insurance. When they're arrested, men are much more likely to be convicted, and if they are convicted, they get longer sentences for the same crimes as women. Plus, 95% of all frontline casualties are men. The fact is, men work harder. We work longer hours on average, we make more money for our firms on average, and we take shorter holidays, even when you account for babies. And finally, women prefer it. They prefer a more balanced life, and they're thrilled when they find a man who can provide for them and enable them to spend more time at home or with the kids. So should we pay women less? You have to admit, the arguments are intriguing.
there's way more. I'm sure you can look at the statistics for this too. There's way more men in the government getting those positions than women. So, and those statistics I'm sure are like off the roof with way more men than women. So,
what do you think about countries like Saudi Arabia that totally oppress women and will stone them to death for, you know, having sex outside of marriage or for any little thing that they do? What do you think about that?
I think it's absolutely horrible. It's outrageous, and I think that all women deserve their human rights. That in every single country, within every single nation, we all deserve the same rights. We all deserve respect, and we all deserve to be treated exactly like men are treated. Maybe even like we're not asking for special privileges. We're asking for like the same privileges.
Did you guys support Hillary Clinton? Well, did you know that Hillary Clinton took millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia for her campaign?
I can't confirm or deny that he's a skinhead, but
I have alopecia areata. It's a medical condition that I got while I was serving in the military. So I had a backpack on that stops cell phone signals from detonating bombs under our feet, and it either gives you a big white stripe up your head, or if you, do you mind touching me? So feel it right there. Baby smooth, right? Now feel right there. So I got patches in my head. So I had to shave my head because how would you rather be like have weird awkward patches in my head? That'd be weird as fuck. So I just shave it because it looks better than having patches. But no, I'm not a skinhead.
he said you were.
Technically, I'm a skinhead, but I don't believe in the ideology because technically. So
He said you were wearing the getup and that you had like put two and two together. He says, you know, you got the getup, and I was skeptical. I had no idea one way or the other.
no, I don't. I'm not a white nationalist. No, I'm not a white supremacist. No, I'm not. I don't believe in Hitler. Like I don't do the goose step. Like I don't do it.
Yeah.
Literally, the only reason I'm bald is because I have alopecia. Okay. I apologize for assuming. Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, I actually had the same conversation earlier. It's a matter of people on our side. It's not even about hating others like his side. It's like we're just rich white people who don't have any kindness. We're genuinely standing against people who are playing identity politics. Like just because someone is a color, you see them as evil, and we're not. We actually, honestly, we agree with like 95% of your points. We want people to get medical coverage. The only problem is when we have an issue with it is that when you have hey, how's it going? When you have an inherent, when they quote, keep in mind, it's all verbal, right? When you have a right to something, that means you should be able to attain it without charge. Would you agree? Yeah. Like healthcare? Like you should be able to attain it without charge. All right. The only problem I have with that at all, it's not a matter of people getting healthcare. I want everyone, including, like, I know this puts me at odds with a lot of Republicans. Like, I don't even mind abortions personally. Like, I personally don't have an issue with it. But that's more of a conservative opinion. But when it comes to medical requirements, like, we want you to have healthcare. The only problem we have is that when you say it's a right, that means that you have a right to someone's labor.
Well, maybe it's like you have a right to like access a willing, like it wouldn't be like
that's
it wouldn't
essentially indentured servitude. It's like you have to treat me. It's like, but I'm not being paid. I spent a lot of money to get my medical degree.
Well, they still would be paid. It would just be through like taxpayers.
But that's the problem. Is when you have a right to it, that means that you can force them to do that by the power of the state.
Well, what happens if let's say a firefighter
and conservative. I mean, in general, conservative ideology is basically reducing the power of the state. Because we don't want this power of the state to be used to infringe the rights of others. That's pretty much it. We don't want it to infringe gays. We don't want it to infringe transphobic or transgenders, not transphobics. We don't. Sorry. We don't want it to infringe anybody. We want to reduce the power of the state. That's it.
So it's kind of like the language that's used around like that.
No, and I would agree with you traditionally if their actions didn't speak louder than their words. When they are trying to utilize the power of the state to promote their own ends. They're not trying to do it. They're trying to actually do the exact same thing. Have you ever heard of the horseshoe effect? Like, I like to be right in the center, and I don't like the extreme right or the extreme left because they both do the same thing. When you have fascists on both sides, it doesn't matter if you're conservative or liberal. It's just a matter of you're using the state to intimidate others to follow your ideology. And if you have a good ideology, you shouldn't have to use the power of guns to enforce it. Guns are there as a tool to simply protect yourself and protect the rights of others.
So just to sum this up, you're basically saying that universal health care, it wouldn't be good because then you're forcing people into indentured servitude and forcing them to provide medical care for...
I didn't say that at all.
But, well, that's what I'm trying to clarify.
Are we forcing firefighters into indentured servitude because they have to respond to a fire?
No, they volunteer for that.
They're paid, and that's how they want to do the healthcare. They want the government to pay for it.
That's the problem. So
that's not indentured servitude.
But do you? All right. So let's go to a Supreme Court case. Is it the police's responsibility to protect you? Wrong. According to the Supreme Court, it's not the responsibility of the police to protect you. There was a case where someone was being attacked.
Come on, man.
No, hang on. The
taking
police were
hairs
called,
right now.
and they didn't show up for like hours. The person ended up dead, and when they sued because the police never responded, the Supreme Court issued the statement. No, it is not the responsibility of the police to protect you. You cannot sue them because they didn't get to you. Now, when that comes up into this idea, your job is to protect yourself. So if you try to restrict guns, it's really hard to protect yourself because it's not the responsibility of them to protect you. So now when it comes to the
background checks aren't really restrictive.
The thing is, Republicans traditionally don't deny background checks.
Yeah, so there's really not as much disagreement as people think.
No, the only problem we have is creating a universal registration list.
Yeah.
We don't care about background checks. We care about a registration list and keeping them on record so they can come take it back. Because let's be fair. Now, So for Democrats and liberals all around, all right, more than likely they're going to believe in the confiscation or banning of firearms. All right, a lot of them are for assault rifles. Okay, we want to ban all assault rifles because they're scary, right? They make up 3% of gun deaths.
I think they just more want background checks, universal background checks. That's it.
If you want to ban,
that's all I've ever heard.
All guns, that's a conversation we can have because that's a genuine idea.
I heard there's some action at the back.
That's pretty good.